We got you back, dude. You disappeared there for a second.
It did a thing when you hit record. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I missed the intro on that one. So, welcome back
Let's
to another
just
episode of Red Thread Ministries.
start over.
Yeah,
Start over.
there was the start over. You have the illustrious one, Brian, there with his magnificent hair, and me. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about Matthew 7 and 8 to continue our Matthew Bible study here. Had to start recording because we were getting into it too soon, I think. Getting into the good stuff. You know?
We were trying to catch up, but we just turned to God so quickly. And we're like, wait, we should have just hit record a while ago.
Yes. Yes, we should have.
That's what fellowship is about.
Amen and amen, dude. It's about all we got these days. But
man, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, dude. So let's just get right into it with one of the most used out of context verses in the Bible. Let me share my screen here real quick. Where is it? All right, cool. You see, dude, this is what happens when we take too long between episodes. When I take too long between episodes, there's my notes. There we go. All right, can you see? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And let's scroll up to 7 here.
Nice. Very nice.
We're going to start with judging others, dude. I love it because this is the one that gets thrown around more than anything ever, and especially thrown in the faces of Christians by people. It's gonna be a long day.
Well, people don't like to be judged for some reason. I never really had that much issue with it.
Yeah.
I always thought it helped me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, if they don't like that, I must really be goofing. You know?
You are something of an anomaly then.
But some people take great offense. It turns out. So
come to find out,
they think it's like really, really bad, and
yeah, right. It's actually the inverse.
I remember when I was a teenager, I was just really taken aback by that. I'm like, well, why? What?
Yeah.
They would call it like disrespecting. Don't disrespect me. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah. It's in love, dude. But so to start, what's not being said is suspend your moral judgment regarding other people. But that Jesus doesn't tolerate people who are too critical and harshly condemn others. Just someone who doesn't know or doesn't show mercy, love, or grace when they are, quote unquote, judging you. But anyways, it's not the only thing constantly taken out of context, but it's one of the go-tos when someone feels attacked, regardless of how it's phrased. But so we'll start.
Because it's still, he then goes on to say how you should judge others.
Right. But we're not going to talk about that part. Yeah, you leave that part out, dude.
Nah, we're going to ignore that part. I don't like that part.
I don't like the obvious explanation that makes sense.
Bad part.
All right. So chapter 7, judging others. Judge not that you not be judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye, when there is a log in your own eye? You hypocrite, which, that's powerful words from the Son of Man. You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. That last line is something I wrestle with too, but we'll get there in due time. So I've been reading a little bit of the blessed Theophylact's explanation of the Gospels. So I like what he said. He said, "You may also understand that the Lord is speaking of one who, despite his own great sins, condemns others who have lesser sins, of which God will be the judge." Um, and yeah, that's that's great, man. Because typically that's what you find with people. People you know are just running amok with sin, but for some reason hold some moral high ground over you and use these lines any chance they get. But
Mhm.
in 7:3, what he's saying here is that we need to be as critical of ourselves as we are others. And then in addition to that, we need to be generous to others in the same way we are with ourselves. Um, and if that isn't super obvious, what he's saying is that we should address and repent of our own sins before we condemn or judge others of theirs. And I think that's something that I often forget. Um, and then, if I may read from my NIV here. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, man. My daughter left for a training camp without me, and it's got me all out of sorts. But 7:1 through 2, judge not forbids pronouncing another person guilty before God. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. Undue harshness and a judgmental attitude towards others will result in being treated in much the same way by God. And then 7:3 through 5, which is kind of an interesting footnote. Jesus may have been drawing on his background as a carpenter for the metaphor of a log in your own eye, which of course is hyperbole. And then he says, Jesus does not forbid all evaluation or even judgment of others, for ultimately the one who feels grieved and humbled over his own sin can help remove the speck from others. What Jesus does is rule out pride that views oneself as better than any others. And I think a lot of Christians are guilty, especially myself, of taking that moral high road when we're probably guilty of the same exact thing, a form of projection, if you will, you know.
Yeah.
Then the throwing your pearls before pigs, dude. I do this all the time because I don't want to believe that people are just so turned off by the gospel that they'll never um, even consider it. I have people like that in my life, and it pains me. I have started to talk about it less around them because I just don't think that there's any hope for them, and there's absolutely nothing I can say. But I mean, I guess if the spirit so chose to work on their hearts, it's just impossible, dude. They're not gonna turn from that. But little footnote again, dude, because you know I like footnotes. So pigs and dogs were considered unclean at this time, and that's why he's using this language, presumably. And like I said, it's something I wrestle with because our witness does require some discernment. So if we have friends in our lives who have heard the truth of the gospel, I have plenty of them and still reject it. They are the pigs and the swine he's referring to, right? Because the pearls are the gospel, the good word. And we shouldn't continue to throw out something as precious and sacred as God's kingdom and Jesus's teachings of it, and allow it to be trampled by them, dogs and pigs. Uh, because doing so only serves to cheapen the message. And then again, one more quote from Theophylact. I promise there's not that much to that I have for all of 7, but the dogs are unbelievers and swine are believers who lead a filthy and shameful way of life. One ought not, therefore, to speak of the mysteries to the unbelievers, nor speak brilliant and lustrous words of theology to those who are unclean. For the swine trample them underfoot, that is, despise what is said, while the dogs turn on us and tear us limb from limb. This is what those so called philosophers do. When they hear that God was crucified, they stab us with their syllogisms, probably saying that wrong, and reasoning with their sophistry that this is impossible, meaning the gospel is impossible. Did I take all the time? Unless you have anything you would like to add, we can just kind of push through because I don't have notes again until like
Oh,
7:21.
okay. Yeah, I didn't take any notes.
Yeah, and that's what I love
Not
about you.
not tonight, boys. I mean, I listened to it and I thought about it and prayed about it, but Didn't write anything down. I mean, to me, I always took this as you should really be in the right place
Mm,
if you're going to judge others. Otherwise, you're going to look really stupid to God,
yeah.
um, and make a fool of yourself, really,
Mm,
overall. I mean, we've all seen those people that think they're better than others and stuff. And I think that's what people always think judgment is, but
yeah.
it only is when it's done wrong
Mhm.
in the way that Jesus is saying here. That's just the first thing that's what it seems like it always meant to me. You know, I guess that's the picture I always got.
Yeah. I mean, with that line of reasoning, we're all pretty caught up in our own sins. So maybe maybe it's better we keep our mouths shut the majority of the time. But yeah,
And I do.
yeah, yeah,
Jesus says to, you know.
yeah. I'm
And it's so funny that Jesus really feels like he's like, well, I can at least tell them to not make fools of themselves
yeah,
because they definitely will.
yeah.
Um,
He knows us so well.
right. Yeah.
Uh, all right. So asking it,
They're gonna. Yeah.
asking it will be given. I think a lot of people misunderstand this one as well. No, I'm not saying I have it all together, but we can talk about that after. So asking it will be given. So asking it will be given to you, seeking you will find, knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks it will be opened. Or which one of you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? So the asking it will be given to you. I think a lot of us are guilty of asking things that don't align with God's will, and then we get the shocked Pikachu face when it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get mad, right? You're like, "Well, I prayed for this and I asked," and you say, "If we ask, it will be given." But I think a lot of people forget that it has to be in line with His will. So if you didn't get that job and you feel slighted because God didn't allow you to have that job, it probably wasn't in his plan for you. So you need to relax, right? And maybe not get all bent out of shape about it. But
Right.
I don't know. That's just my two
Amen to
cents, dude. I
that.
don't know anything. I don't know anything, dude.
Big amen to that, brother.
The golden rule. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few.
Mm.
I'm bad about this one, dude. I constantly, not constantly, I'm better now, but I mean a lot, dude, and then I take it personally when people are mean to me. And then I get all bent out of shape about it for the rest of the day. It's probably that's probably one of the things I struggle with the most, man. 90% of the time, what they're upset about and what
Look,
I'm upset about has nothing to do with the person I'm talking to. It just so happens that they did something to draw my unwarranted ire for some reason. Most of the time, that's how it works. And then here comes the verses that a specific group of people love to use to justify their misunderstanding of the Bible. A tree and its fruits. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? So every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the diseased tree bears bad fruit. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a diseased tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus you will recognize them by their fruits.
That's right.
That is right. So for 721, the wise and the foolish. So the people that Jesus has in mind here in these verses are relying for salvation only on what they say and not what they believe in their hearts. It's important to note that Jesus is not dismissing the importance of a verbal profession of faith, which is in Romans 10:9 through 10. Let me I can actually pull that up real quick. I feel kind of bad for giving uh, verses and stuff like that and not actually reading them. So let me read this real quick. So 10:9
Yeah.
through 10. Where is it? So if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. So that's what it's pointing to.
Reminds me of
So
that video I sent you the other day.
which one was that?
One where they asked that guy
Oh
how he
yeah, dude.
came to Christ, and he said that it was the same for black people than it was for anyone else.
For context, it's really old
Yeah,
white people asking you.
yeah, but I mean, everyone laughed. The whole audience laughed.
Yeah, yeah. This is really funny. That
But
was
that's what
very,
he says. You
yeah.
confess, you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth. He's like, oh, well, it's the same for black people.
One
He's
day we'll
like,
be able.
in case you didn't know.
One day I'll learn how to incorporate audio and video, and we can, we can play that. We can play these things we always talk about, but so continuing on. But if there is no moral obedience to Jesus in our lives, the words are empty. Jesus is not impressed with pious words. He asks for evidence of our faith in works of obedience and that surrender to him, and in hearts that surrender to him. And that's in Luke 6:46. I also want to read these because I don't have a ton of notes, and it kind of makes me feel ill prepared, to be honest with you. So, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not say what I say? And then he goes on to say, as for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. So that's what that is referring to in Luke 6:46. And then I promise we'll read this in just a second. Jesus then illustrates the contrast between obedient hearers and disobedient hearers by his parable of the two builders, and that's 6:47 through 6:49. So let me read those real quick. I'll continue on. They're like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house, but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck the house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete. And I think in this one he talks about sand, building it on sand, if memory serves. And what struck the hearers of this sermon was the preacher's extraordinary authority. So all throughout, a lot of it when they marvel and stuff is because Jesus speaks with the authority that he has, right? And that's what makes them marvel, because it's not just like an ordinary rabbi regurgitating this stuff. So he did not stumble or
Yeah.
hesitate, and instead with quiet assurance he laid down the law for the citizens of God's kingdom. The crowds were amazed, and after 2,000 years we are amazed too. And if that's not obvious, it came from the NIV to study Bible. Sorry, I kind of forgot that I copy and pasted that quote. So in the last part of this, man, if I may interject yet again, going on another tangent. This, well, let me read it first. So not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do mighty works in your name? And then will I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. And I've mentioned this before, right? How this verse always terrified me and how I spent a lot of time thinking about it and praying about it. But it doesn't really mess with me as much anymore because I kind of have a better understanding of it now. So what I've read on it is that Jesus' name has great power, and even today we see that, right? Like these street
Yeah,
preachers, they'll be out, they'll use his name, and people become like rabid, dude. It
they
really,
sure do.
right? It really drudges up something in them, man. Like they start getting
And then
violent, they start swearing.
that name's a complete buzzkill.
Yeah, yeah, it is to some, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but so what's going on here is the people who will hear this are most likely people who did things in his name, um, probably to their own benefit, right? It it wasn't that they had a relationship with him. They just knew that there was power in his name and his authority, and so they just kind of used it for their own benefit, right? For their own,
Yeah.
um, just to get people to look at them and stuff. And I think personally, my own interpretation based on what I've read is we probably don't have much to worry about where that is concerned, just because we're not running around doing things in his name without the relationship and without the authority that he kind of gives us to use his name in that way, if that makes sense.
It does because he tells us not to. He tells us not to right there. You
Yeah.
know, because
Right.
I've always kind of felt the way that you're talking about. Well, because I think we've talked about this several times in private.
Hmm.
Um, that's what we believe about that. It makes the most sense to me.
Right.
That's what it seems to mean.
Yeah. I think that's the general consensus. But still, I hear a lot of people get pretty shaken up by that line. And like I said, I did too. And sometimes I still do. Because sometimes I wonder, who we're doing all of this for, who I am doing all this for, like this show slash podcast that we do as well. I I often wonder who it's for, and at well, in the sense that are we doing this for the
Yeah.
kingdom of heaven or are we doing it for ourselves, right? And
Oh,
we're
okay.
and I speaking to myself because I'm not going to project my insecurities on you at this point. I mean, we don't have a lot of listeners or anything like that, but it's something I enjoy doing. And it's not about becoming famous or becoming a voice in the influencer sphere for me. It just feels like a good way for people like you and I to spread the message. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
so much just get famous and make money out of it because that's not what it's
Feel
about.
like well, I feel like that would literally never happen, even if we wanted it to.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't even want that to happen.
right. Yeah, it's a little scary on that end because what if we did get famous, right? And I've thought about this too. I don't ever want to be rich or anything like that. People can keep that, man. There's too many problems with that. Am I strong? Like, let's say that we did start making money and we started making good money. I don't know how I would react to that. Would we still keep it the way we're doing it, or would it be just for the clicks and the views and the money at that point? You know what I mean? I think
Oh,
that money would go a long way in corrupting. I don't know. Maybe it would, maybe it
oh,
wouldn't. And I don't want to find out. You know what I mean?
it would give us money and time to make this be bigger than it is because I want to do more with it. But
Yeah.
a lot of it's just not even knowing how,
Yeah.
and it's my fault for not looking up things more often,
Right. But
to be
who knows, man?
honest.
Maybe we're here just to spread the message to like two or three people. And that's fine, dude. That's fine with me.
Amen, dude. Amen to that.
Cause it's fun, man. It's fun getting on here. I never thought I would be doing something like this. Cause I typically don't like talking in front of people. And now we're talking in front of the whole internet, whether they see it or not. But that's
Yeah, I personally
billions of
don't like
people.
the camera thing all that much. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. But it's a nice touch, dude. And we get to see your hair in your
that
beard.
one in here, Mitch talked me into it. It's basically how that works.
Hey, dude. My dad and my family like seeing the video. They said it adds a nice touch, and that's all that matters. You know, that's all that matters to me. Um, Sorry, sorry for the derailing there. So building your house on the rock, and this is one of the stories that parallels Luke. So 724. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on the house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. That's scary, man. Early on, I was worried about the foundation on which my faith was built. It's not bad as much anymore, but man, I had a pretty sweet habit of getting on Instagram and getting rocked by some convincing, maybe not convincing, but compelling arguments to
Okay,
like
yeah.
like maybe some of this stuff wasn't as historically verified or this, that, and the other. And I've since
Mm. Mhm.
kind of reconciled that because what I got kind of good at doing is A, praying about it, and B, it forced me to look into this stuff and confront stuff that made me uncomfortable. And I don't think a lot of people do that, specifically Christians. I think they try to avoid the stuff that makes them uncomfortable. But what I've found thus
Yeah.
far is while it may be rocky for a couple weeks, I had one stretch of a few weeks where I was really just considering giving it up. But I came out way stronger on the other side, and it kind of removed that fear and hesitation I have at confronting things that may or may not um, shake me up a little bit. Fortunately, I have people like you to talk about it with, and you appear to have one of the
We had a
most
good
unshakable faiths. But
we had a good chat. I
yeah,
was I was about to say that.
what's that?
I was just about to say that at this point I feel like I'm pretty unshakable.
Yeah, and that's why I bring a lot of that stuff to you because you kind of cut it off at the legs for me.
I get pretty excited when people are it's like the more people are against Jesus around me, the more hyped up I get.
Mhm. That's great.
I'm super reverse like that. Like whenever I'm in, especially a new church, but and I'm in like it's worship and everyone's getting into it,
Yeah.
and it always just takes me out of the zone.
Hmm.
I can never get in that zone that they're in. I always just find myself sitting there and just looking at the people, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm not in this. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Right.
And I've always been like that. But when there's like a lot of people hating
Yeah.
on Jesus, man, I just start to get pumped up.
That's amazing,
I'm
dude.
like, Jesus is the coolest thing in the world. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
And,
They
and
don't
it's
know.
it's like I don't know why I'm like that. I mean, I like the worship.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get me as hype.
Yeah.
The worship is to make God hype.
Yeah.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
You're the greatest of all. You
Amen.
are you're worthy of all things.
Yeah.
Yada yada.
Right.
Not to
Well,
yada yada that. That's to
yeah.
say that when I start going, I just start to do. Sometimes I just try to hype up God as much as possible.
That's what's up, dude. That's what it's all
You
about.
got to blow them up sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to let them know what you think, how cool he is.
Yeah.
God's really cool to me. So,
Amen, dude. Yeah. Yeah. But I will say, dude, and that's what you said is part of the reason I've been looking at Catholicism and Orthodox so much. It's a lot of the stuff feels performative, especially when I understand that you get hyped up and you want to dance around and stuff, and that's great, but a lot of it feels kind of performative, and it
doesn't
draws
it?
me out of it too. Yeah. I
Doesn't
mean,
it? Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a big believer
I
in,
definitely understand you there that you're like, why can't we just sit around and be boring
yeah.
instead? That's a funny way to put it, actually.
Well, I'm a big pray in the secret place kind of guy, right? I don't want to make it a spectacle, and that's why I don't street preach. Not taking away
It
from that
tells
because I think
us
it's a very valuable tool.
tells
Yeah,
us not to.
right. Because I really would wrestle with who I'm doing it for in that instance, especially if I was just being loud and vocal. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody who's like that. That's great. But to me personally, it's very much pray in the secret place. I even have sometimes like a hard time praying in front of my family, my daughters, because I want to pray out loud with them. But I don't know, man. It's just I got to get
I
over
find
that. That's
myself sometimes you get pretty, I don't know, almost imposter syndrome.
mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
But I get imposter syndrome for everything. So
Yeah.
it's not something I'm not used to. You
Right.
know, I'm I've worked the front desk at a homeless shelter. You know what I mean? I'm like the
Mm-hmm.
help desk slash security guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like all the
Right.
time,
Yeah.
It's like, am I that important?
Mm-hmm.
And then in my head, I'm like, you've been doing this for 6 months, or it's going fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously, you're way better now than you were. So why would you feel
Right.
like this now?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, you're like excited,
Right.
and you don't feel that way. You're like, yeah, I'm happy to be here. And
Yeah.
then the better you get at the job, somehow, that's when you're like, I don't. What am I doing here? I don't. Is this
It,
is this like what I'm? Is this okay?
yeah. Yeah. That's actually that's kept me from applying to a lot of
Is
cybersecurity
that
jobs.
is that
I
okay?
yeah.
Is it okay? Oh, hey, by the way, just checking. I know I've been here like a year. Is it okay that I'm here?
Dude, I struggle with that so much.
You're
You
looking
know,
like
I
that,
mean,
like,
you do.
hey, just wondering if you could soothe some thoughts I've been having about not feeling, up to par about everything in life. Um,
Oh, dude.
but
If only
yeah,
you
I
knew.
mean, but anyway, that's what it's like when you're trying to pray for people that ask you to pray for them.
Yeah.
It can feel like that at first,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember the last time I did that, and it's been a while now. That you just it's been like a year, well, maybe yeah, probably about exactly, and a little less.
Yeah.
It's probably been about 10 months actually since I laid hands on someone that wanted some prayer.
Yeah.
And they said that they felt the power. And I'm just like, you know what? Thanks for saying that. That
Yeah.
makes me feel good about it. Makes me feel like you're doing it right. You
Right.
know, you know,
100%. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all throughout the Bible, the anointing with oils and the
yeah,
laying on of hands, right?
yeah, yeah. They're like, you should do that again, actually. You know,
Yeah.
and you're like, I see,
Yeah.
like a massage or something.
A spiritual massage. Uh, dude, in my mind, it's like, what if they didn't feel anything and what if it
Really,
didn't work? You know what I
really
mean?
kind of. I don't know. I can't get past what you just said. That really kind of blew my mind. Spiritual massage.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well,
I
thanks, man.
like that
You
in a
too.
way. That's like what the Holy Spirit is.
Yeah.
It's a
100%.
spiritual massage.
That's what we're here
That's
for,
what
dude.
God. That's what God's presence feels like.
Yeah.
A spiritual massage. Never put. Never thought of that. I
Well, you
like it.
heard it here first. All right.
Heard it here first, boys. Red Thread
Clip it.
Ministries.
Somebody clip it, dude.
I
Put it on
would
a
say
short.
redthreadministries.com, but that is not a thing.
Ooh, could be. And it will be eventually.
Maybe we
Man, we
should
could.
make it a thing, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. We could do some.
Because
Ooh.
.com's also obviously a fun thing to say. So It's important.
Yeah, that's redthreadministries.com. Look us up. Yeah.
.com.
All right.
This is what we get when, I mean, it's about to be 3 a.m. already. This is just the way the podcast is now. We've changed it up, and now I'm sillier than ever because we do it really late for me.
It builds character. It's character building here.
Hey, God, I know I've been following you for years, but like, is it okay? If
you knew how many times I asked that question, dude.
Yeah, you're like,
just
I'm
wondering.
Oh, they want me to talk? What I do? They're like, what do you mean what you do? You talk about this all the time. It's like what you do. I'm like, oh yeah. Didn't think that meant anything for me.
Oh,
I was just trying to hang out with God and have fun. And they're like, oh, well, help us do that. Okay. Yeah,
sure.
I can do that. And that's
Don't
kind of
mind if
where
I
it's
do.
at. It's like, hey, I think I can help you figure out how to chill out, hang out, have some fun with God.
Yeah. That's
They're
what
like,
it's all about,
okay,
man.
okay, yeah, okay.
And you hand them the business card.
I do. I got business cards these days. It looks just like our background here. And it's got our names and stuff, and it doesn't say .com anywhere.
It needs to. We'll change that. We'll change that after the show. Okay. The authority of Jesus.
This is the one that changes it.
Changes everything. Okay. The authority of Jesus. And when Jesus finished these sayings, the crowd were astonished at his teachings, for he was teaching them as one who had authority and not as their scribes. And I unintentionally made mention of that before we even read it. Let's see here. So when they are astonished or amazed or they marvel at him, that's usually why, because of the authority with which he speaks.
It talks about that a lot, and I wish that we could hear him speak.
I know, dude. I know. I often get wrapped up in that, how we don't get to hear him as often, you know, or even get to see him or hear him preach during his ministry, and how much harder. Maybe I'm playing victim here, but it feels much harder for us because we're not witnessing it. But also, if we did witness it, maybe we wouldn't believe either. You know what I mean? There were plenty of people who saw it all firsthand and still didn't believe. So,
Well, I want to say that God's knowledge is so vast and infinite that there are many teachings he could say now, even with our thousands of years of philosophy and stuff, would still blow our minds.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
be like, what?
yeah. Well, I mean, that's how all these people probably felt, right?
Exactly. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes in a way.
Right.
I wonder what he could say now. I'd be like, wow.
I'd be okay with him just giving the Sermon on the Mount again. That'd be fine with me. That would wow me.
You guys know this next one.
Off of his greatest hits album.
It's actually pretty funny. Jesus comes back. Do the one.
Yeah.
No, do my favorite one.
He's bringing the band back together for one farewell tour
before Say the end of time. My favorite verse. No, not that one.
Come on, you know the one. All right.
I'm just saying when Jesus comes back, he's probably going to have some new tracks.
2,000 years in the making.
Yeah. Which to him is nothing.
No, I've had 2,000 years to perfect this for you wretches, dude. What are you guys doing? That's another thing, dude. You look around and you see all this stuff going on. I mean, like, how much more is he going to let us get away with? It's crazy right now, dude.
I've seen some terrible things on the internet in my day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, brother, you're not alone.
The world is wild. But the thing about that is that is it really more wild now, or are things just now on camera?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I've had that discussion with a friend how we have it harder now.
Really?
Yeah, how I think, because virtually we have the P word, we have access to everything that everybody's doing all the time. And I argued that we have it harder now because we have access to all of these things all the time, dude. And the P word is a big one, dude. It's really done a number on society, I think. Personally, I think having battled with that stuff in the past, man, it's brutal. It
It's
really warps your mind.
one of the reasons why teenagers are in such a bad place anymore. I really think so.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I would agree.
it would they would clearly be they would obviously be much more mentally healthy
Yeah.
if seeing an ankle was a rare thing
Yeah. 100%.
than them sleeping with everyone
Hmm.
and that making people so jealous that they get so depressed that they can't live their lives.
Yeah.
And then everyone else that doesn't get depressed in that lifestyle somehow are like the ones who excel at it, and they're like the sociopaths or and psychopaths that just don't
Hmm.
feel anything.
Yeah.
And since that's apparently so common, 100, that's 1%. That's a lot.
That's insane, dude.
Like we lived in a town of like 6,000. That means there's 600 psychopaths.
Yes.
That's a
That's
lot.
insane.
And those are the people that, when societies turn into what it is now, they can dictate where it goes a lot because
Hmm.
that's like the cool thing to do is like not caring. So,
Yeah.
um, and I'm not here to say, I guess I kind of am here to say that people need to dress more modestly.
Yes.
Um,
I agree.
it's wild what
Hmm.
people wear anymore. It was pretty wild. Then again, it was wild what they were wearing when we were kids, and it was probably even more wild when we were kids because I've seen the kids now react to like the low waist
Oh,
jeans
yeah.
that the girls wore in our day.
Right. That's immediately what my
They
mind went to, by the
were
way.
they were very low.
Yeah.
That was what it was like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what's
And they
crazy?
see it now, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you got a point. It was pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Right.
They were
Dude, my
basically
daughter.
wearing bikinis,
Yeah. 100%. My,
jean
it's
bikinis,
well, it's funny you say
jean
that because
kings
jeez,
and
my
jorts."
daughter's my daughter's really into Lizzie McGuire right now, and
Okay,
yeah, so we were watching one of the movies
that seems
that she was
random,
in.
but that's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's relevant, and here's why. When I was watching this movie with her, they had the low waisted jeans. It kind of took me aback, so to speak. I was like, "That's crazy that girls were dressing like that back in the day." I mean,
This is
they're
what high school
super
looked
low.
like.
Yeah. I guess I kind of just forgot that was our high school experience. But
It sure was, dude.
yeah,
That
it's
and
wild that they got away with it.
that and belly button piercings.
Yeah.
Every girl had one.
Yeah. Right.
When I was in high school,
Yeah. 100%.
and now you don't really see it.
No, no, not at all.
Those are really our times. Those are like you could dress like that to make fun of our
Yeah.
generation. Um, that's pretty funny, actually.
I mean, I guess we had short shorts and stuff too, but man, I don't think it was this bad. We always had standards at our school, from what I remember. Like you would get sent home if you wore some of the stuff they wear today. especially in Japan, dude.
They like had shirts to like give you to wear over it, so
Yeah,
you didn't have to leave.
right.
We already got these terrible looking shirts for you to wear.
Yeah,
Um, sorry, should have wore something better.
yeah. They've never been washed, but that's besides the point.
Have these? When was the last this time this was washed? What's that? Anyway,
Okay, so we will read this, I promise. But I got a bunch of notes because this is the one about the leper. I got really into it last night, dude. I was a note-taking machine, all four pages of it.
I get pretty excited about all the leper stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, especially when you
I know that
know.
might sound like a silly thing to say, like I'm trying to make a joke or something.
No,
No, every encounter Jesus has with the leper is amazing.
yes, absolutely, and allow us to tell you why. Okay, so in the first part of Matthew 8, the story of the leper coming to Jesus, and one point that something I was reading made was these people, to include the centurion, they didn't go up to the mountain and interrupt Jesus's sermon for all of this stuff. So they had like enough respect for his authority and things to wait until he was done doing what he was doing, right? Um, so back then, leprosy, which could entail like not specifically leprosy, right? It could be any skin condition that they thought would be contagious, would make you unclean. So it was essentially a death sentence per Leviticus 13:46. And allow me to read that real quick. Glad you asked. Leviticus 13:46. As long as they have the disease, they remain unclean. They must live alone. They must live outside the camp. So they were ostracized from their communities, um, and perpetually unclean.
For
So
the sake of the people.
yeah, right. So they were basically homeless people living outside of the city. So what the stuff I was reading again, so there's no copyright stuff. I take from the NIV Study Bible or NIV Speaks Today or something like that, and the Faith Life Study Bible, and then of course my study Bible I have here at home. But what I found was interesting was this point it made. It's like this disease perfectly sums up the spiritual condition of humanity. So much like leprosy separated people from community, sin is like a disease that separates us from God. It is also infectious, like leprosy, ending in a spiritual death. That's a great comparison because sin is vehemently contagious, dude. I still find myself around certain groups of people very easily falling into my old ways, like swearing and saying things I don't normally or I wouldn't normally say anymore, right? Because I've been trying to be conscious of how I talk, but that's neither here nor there. So the
I'm pretty good at it, but I have found myself doing that a little bit too lately,
yeah,
and I have seen it as an issue as of late.
mm-hmm, yeah, dude, I'm
And
the
then
same way.
and then I've already done that thought process, and
Mhm.
I've been in the process of getting better, and now I
Yeah,
am a lot better.
yeah. Well, I mean, you look back at our Discord chats and stuff like that. Well, you can't actually look back, but thinking back, I mean, we were using the F word as a sentence enhancer, dude. I habitually use that word and a whole slew of other ones. And to break that it took a very conscious effort. Um, but, anyways, sorry. The man with leprosy addresses Jesus as Lord, which in Greek is Kyrios. And I'm probably going to, I got a bunch of Greek words in here, but I'm probably going to say all of them wrong. So bear with me.
Excellent.
So, as one does. Uh, What's interesting about that term, actually, is it's an honorific term used in the Greco-Roman culture. Um, but it was also used, so it was used to address superiors, and it was also used to address the emperor, whom they thought was or considered divine at the time. So in the Septuagint, which is the first, I think, five books of the Bible, I may be wrong on that, so don't hold me to that. The Greek
I thought
translation
that
of
was the Torah.
well, the Septuagint is the Greek translation of the
Oh, right.
Hebrew
Right.
Old
Yeah,
Testament.
it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it is.
what's interesting is Kyrios occurs almost 6,000 times, right? It is a translation of Hebrew's Yahweh. So they're literally taking um, this this term. The direct translation is Yahweh. So they're acknowledging his deity, right? Because we know it is a divine name of God. So what else is interesting is the context surrounding the usage of the word in Matthew. And it points to whether the speaker is recognizing Jesus as divine or just showing respect. So depending on the context that they're using, it's specifically in Matthew is where this happens a lot. So Jesus cleanses a leper. When he came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper came to him and knelt before him, saying, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a proof to them. So let me pull up Leviticus 5:3 because that's where this is. 5:3. See? Or if they touch human uncleanness, anything that would make them unclean, even though they are unaware of it, but then they learn of it and realize their guilt. So that's just saying that what these people would be saying is far more, probably as shocking as Jesus actually healing the leprosy itself. Um, so 8:3 is traditionally, according to what I just read, touching a person with leprosy would make the person touching them unclean as well. However, Jesus's touch actually heals him of his leprosy. The fact that he touches the leper is almost as surprising as the leper's request. And this act points to the one that is greater than Moses arriving, because he throws it back to um, what they had to do to cleanse themselves. And I think it was they take two clean birds and they sacrifice them, and that started the ritual purification. If memory serves, I don't think I wrote that down. No. Yeah, I did. Okay. So in Leviticus 14, 1 through 7, it actually has the whole thing for that cleansing process. So it is two clean birds, and they use it in the purification ritual. And then just as some gee whiz, uh, Greek here, the word immediately is translated from the word eutheos, which conveys a source or a sense of urgency or immediacy. And that's used a lot throughout the Bible when speaking to things that Jesus did immediately. So the cleansing of the leper demonstrates Jesus's authority over sickness and disease and validates his message. In fact, uh, this specific act is used as a messianic sign because if you remember, when John the Baptist was in prison, he sent messengers to ask if Jesus was the one they were waiting on, or if they should wait for another. And this is actually one of the things that Jesus tells the messenger to tell John as proof to his messianic, what would you call it, to prove that he is the Messiah, right? So,
Right.
and then I should actually probably move on. The faith of a centurion. When he had entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly. And he said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion replied, Lord, I'm not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, Go, and he goes, and another, Come, and he comes. And to my servant, Do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed him. Now, I highlighted that for a very specific reason, because I do believe that is one of very few, if not the only time it says Jesus marveled or was astonished or
Yeah.
insert whatever word you want there. Imagine that.
Isn't that
I
the
mean,
only time?
I believe that is the only time. I was just covering all my bases because I can't remember if it happens again. I don't think it does. Um, so where was I? Oh yeah. Truly, I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith. I tell you, many will come from east and west and recline at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, while the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And to the centurion, Jesus said, Go, let it be done for you as you have believed. And the servant was healed at that very moment. Now, I think this is what we were getting into before the episode even started, but let me set something up real quick. So, again, you have to understand like how big of a deal it would be for someone who's a part of the forces that were subjugating um, Palestine at the time, right? The Romans. Like to see a centurion, which is an officer of pretty great authority. They usually command like 80 people, and they're super well respected, super experienced, all of that stuff. So to have this man come to Jesus and beg him, call him Lord, and beg him to heal his servant is probably just mind blowing, dude. I mean, you can't even. I don't even know what to compare that to in terms of what we would see today. But it was a huge deal, right? And specifically to appealing to him is the Greek word parakaleo. So it's used to show a strong sense of urgency or begging. So now this high-ranking military official comes to Jesus, calls him Lord, and begs him for his help. The people that a rabbi, who the people would probably at the time see as a lowly rabbi, right? And calling him Lord and asking for his help. That's insane, dude. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, like because I don't know that we have any instances of that that we could kind of point to in modernity. I don't know if you can think of anything, but that would be a huge deal. Huge deal.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of hard, right? To to kind of do a one for one comparison because I don't think that anything like that exists right now. Or I'm just too scatterbrained to think about it. And again, this is the
kind
only
of what I
time.
think I am at more so at the moment.
Yeah, man, this is. I know I've been saying and kind of fumbling through this one a lot. I did prepare a lot last night and the week before, but I don't know. It's like once that record button hit, my brain reset for some reason. Um, and then to what he says about great faith with no one in Israel, which
That
is
was always
also
one of my favorite stories, though,
this one, the
with him and
centurion.
the Centauri. Yeah,
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 yeah.
and maybe like I said, I mean, I can say a lot of things about the Chosen that I don't
Hmm.
like,
Yeah,
but one of my favorite that I think my favorite part of the Chosen was them doing that verse.
yeah, yeah. It's
Remember with
crazy, right?
him and when Jesus said, you know, it'll be done like you say, you know,
Hmm.
you saw him have like a whole peaceful day
Yeah,
after, but before
right.
even going home,
Yeah,
because he had that much faith that
right.
his kid was better. And
Yeah.
that was an awesome
Oh yeah,
episode, or at least scene.
yeah.
That was my favorite scene of
Hmm.
that show, was that
Dude.
part, because it was done so biblically accurate, and in a way, and being extra biblical in the best way that you can by
Hmm.
just showing a story with visuals and not add words, because why
Right.
would you add words?
Yeah.
The words are already there.
Right.
um you don't need to add words.
Yeah, dude. That whole
We
character
already
arc,
got the
his.
word and it's
Yeah.
long, and
Right.
um
Yeah.
there's no reason to make up more, but you can
Yeah.
be artistic and show off a verse that is already said happening.
Yeah.
And they did that, and I liked that a lot. I was like,
Yeah.
this is done good.
Right.
This is done
Dude,
really well. Yeah.
I liked his whole character development a lot actually, from when he was
Yeah.
guarding
Yeah.
guarding Matthew when he was a tax collector. Although it was
That's
awesome,
pro-
dude.
That's probably why it was so good too, is because
Yeah.
it was him.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's why it had
Gosh, that
extra
was so cool.
feeling to it, but it worked for that reason.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you my favorite scene real quick?
Sure,
Dude,
yeah.
my favorite scene is when Jesus walks on water and he tells Peter to step out of the boat and he starts to sink and then you see Jesus' hand reach down and pick him up. You know what's crazy, dude? Is I immediately after seeing that scene, I went to drive somewhere and I just started playing Gwen Stacy, which is an old hardcore band.
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, dude, I forget the name of the song specifically, but they they have a verse in one of their songs that says, um, "Stop staring at the water, step out," or "Stop staring at the waves, step out onto the water, stop staring at the waves," something like that. And it's speaking to that scene in the Bible. I was like, dude, that's crazy, man. That's like it's one of the few scenes that actually made me cry for some reason in that show. I
That's
just loved
awesome.
it so much, dude. Because you want to believe that that's how things like that always played out, right? They're scared. In I think we've talked about this before, but in that area, they had believed, I think, that there were like evil spirits or something in that area, and they were superstitious, like about
Right.
seeing ghosts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
when Jesus approaches them, that's why they're unsure if it's him, because they're so superstitious. They believe that it might be a ghost. Isn't that crazy, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, ugh. And then he just, on faith, steps out into the water, and for a brief second, he looks at those waves and he starts to doubt and he sinks. It's crazy, man. Crazy. That's why I love the Bible. But anyways, so the
It also lets you know that you can start to doubt when you're already doing it successfully.
yeah, yeah,
How
dude.
sad
And
is that?
well, I don't think it's sad, and here's why. One of the things that it makes the Bible so true for me is they could have put a bunch of perfect people in this book and really took liberties with that kind of thing, but they don't, dude. Everybody who is one of the good guys is such a flawed human being. I mean, you have
Usually.
Peter,
Yeah.
yeah. You have David, you have Solomon, you have Daniel's the one that, with the hair, right? Or is that Samson? That's Samson, isn't it?
Samson,
Swimmy,
he's one of
swimmy.
the judges.
Yeah. And dang man, they're so deeply flawed and yet still man.
Yeah, they always
Uh
tell you, it's like, yeah, and he also did this.
yeah.
It's
David
like
was essentially
there's always a sprinkle of Jerry Springer in there,
yeah, dude.
isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like, and then we're also going to tell you all of his crimes and convictions.
Yeah. Why else would they do that? You know what I mean? If they wanted to make a convincing farce, like, we really need something to make them believe, you wouldn't put all of these people's shortcomings in there. I mean, everything too.
Yeah,
But I digress.
I remember Perry Stone saying that about all of was it David's wives?
Hmm. David and Solomon had like 700 wives or something.
Yeah, I forget which one had the most, and but I remember he was just like, yeah, I would have left that part out.
Yeah, right? Like all of these things you would think that they would leave out if they were trying
Yeah,
to lie
right.
to us. Yeah.
He had 200 wives. Oh, it's not a good look.
Yikes. No. And then that's eventually why Solomon fell, right? Because, or fell from grace at least, because he started the pagan stuff because of his wives. Like three or 400
Right.
concubines and X amount of wives.
He had a bunch of woke wives that got together and made like a coven or something. And he was
Yeah,
like,
dude.
oh, great.
I guess, since you're forcing my hand here.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds exactly like how that went, really.
Yeah, right.
So we've made a coven of course you have. He's like, why wouldn't you?
Oh, dude. So
What
to
is it
bring it
this
back,
time? Yeah.
Yeah. We just need to go up to the high places and make some shrines. 8:11 specifically. So this was kind of interesting to me as well. Jesus is referring to the Gentiles and their place in God's redemptive plan. Uh, I'm reading from my notes, so trust me, this is mostly my own words, but I sound like a robot in my head. So recline at the table or to be seated at the banquet, depending on which translation you're using, refers to the messianic banquet that accompanies the end of the age, right? And we see that in a little bit in Revelation 19:6 through 10, but that would take a lot of explaining to get through. But we also see it in the parable of the wedding feast, right? And then you have Isaiah 43, 5 and 6, where he talks about people coming from the east and the west. Hold on. I love Isaiah, dude. I'm gonna read this one. Five. What did I say? 5 and 6. Yeah. Do not be afraid, for I am
You
with
live
you.
some.
I will bring your children from the east and gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not hold them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. So even there, we kind of see it teeing up for the invitation to Gentiles as well. And then the sons of the kingdom refers to people who claim belief in Jesus but don't actually practice his um, message, right? And then the illustration of that would have been in Matthew 7:21 through 23, which is what we read. And then the weeping and gnashing of teeth. So we were talking about this as well. And I like what
Yeah,
you
we were just
said.
talking about this.
Yeah, I think Reddit actually, that's what prompted me to start recording. But
Oh
um,
yeah, it
so
was. Yeah.
the weeping and gnashing of teeth is commonly held to be like unspeakable agony. And then an eternity separated from God, right? That's typically how we view it in the common um, view of that. So,
It seems to be so. Yeah.
yeah. But you were saying that you've read that it's like anger, right? So, anger at God and anger at their,
Yeah, they're gnashing their teeth because they hate God.
right. Yeah. And I think when I gnash my teeth, it's because I'm angry, right? I mean, also in when you're in agony, obviously, but you have to imagine that there's some level of anger there as well. So I really that one when you said it, it's always stuck with me for some reason, and I've always liked that. Um, so excuse me. Jesus heals many. And when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she rose and began to serve him. That evening they brought to him many who were oppressed by demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. He took our illnesses and bore our diseases. And one thing I read that was kind of interesting is usually when you're recovering from a fever or something like that, you're kind of bedridden, right? There's a period of recovery. But when he healed people, that kind of speaks to his authority over illnesses and diseases, right? Because they're immediately back in good health, which I thought was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that's the thing about God's creation is that it ignores time.
Hmm.
Kind of like when he created Adam, he didn't make like a child and
Right.
wait for him to grow up. He created a man
Right. Yeah.
already in manhood
Yeah.
somehow,
Exactly.
and he could already talk.
Yeah.
And
Start naming those animals then.
yeah, yeah, and he was even very creative. Even
Yeah. Right. Gosh, can you imagine, dude? If all of this wouldn't have happened and we
and
were
it's like,
still in that place.
hey, I just got here.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
brand new, but I'm yet a man. That's also the theory as to why. I mean, I still don't really care if it's been billions of years because I mean it still could because God's infinite,
hmm
you know. But that would also be the theory as to why if if he did only create the universe 6,000 years ago, that's why things appear old, because
Hmm.
just like how he made Adam
Hmm.
an adult immediately, he made
Yeah.
the planet as if it was an aged planet, because that's what you need
Right.
to support life, is an
Right.
aged planet. So um there's that theory, and I've always liked that theory. Um it's like, yeah, he made it because that's what it's supposed to be like.
Right.
That's
And
good, ideal living situation. But to me, it could just also be that old, and it
yeah.
doesn't really go against the word. I don't,
Right.
it doesn't really.
Right.
So, um, doesn't really matter which. It's just fun to talk about.
Yeah. And I'm going to digress a little bit because you hit on it. So, I mean, who's to say it didn't take a billion years for the first day, right? He lives outside of time and space. Like a day to him could be a minute, could be a billion years, could be anything, right? It doesn't say that in the first 1,000 years this happened, right? It's not unbelievable to think that it would be, you know, X amount of years between each day. But one thing that I thought was really cool, because my algorithm is all Christian stuff now, is how we have the only planet with trees on it. So trees are the rarest commodity in the universe.
Right.
Isn't that
Yeah.
isn't that crazy? I never
Well,
once thought about that.
any living thing we have is it's the only one in the universe. So,
Hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about, rather. I just thought that was interesting because I never even considered that wood. To think that the thing that we have, just right outside our houses is a
doesn't
hot commodity
it
in the
doesn't
grand
really
scheme of
seem
things.
like there's anything out there, does there?
No, not really.
They
And we
keep
also
talking
live on a
about
planet.
aliens this year, though. This is the year of the aliens.
Yeah, all right.
For those watching in like 2030 something,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah,
is 2026, and they're talking about aliens a lot.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the X-Files over here.
Right. They
Fox
brought all
Mulder's
those.
back,
Yeah. Well, they
and
brought all those
Dana
pastors together to talk about it,
Dana
and
Scully.
yeah.
Yep, heard plenty of things about that, and then they
Uh-huh.
talk about that new movie that's coming out, and it
Oh
is out
yeah,
now.
yeah,
It is out now, and I need to watch it sometime, see what
yeah.
all the hype's about.
Dude, it's gonna
I
shake your
remember him
faith.
saying, yeah, I remember him saying it's going to shake the Christian's face. Okay, what about other people's face?
Yeah.
That was my first question when I heard that. Like, does it somehow not affect Muslims or and Hindus and
Yeah.
Buddhists and
Right.
Jews? Doesn't
Hmm.
affect them at all, does it? It
Yeah, that's crazy. It's weird how
only
that
it's
works.
only Christians.
Uh-huh.
Only
Yeah.
we will have our faith shaken by this movie, Mitch.
Sure. Well, it's out already, you say? And I've
It
not heard
is, yeah,
anybody who has
it
shaken
is.
faith.
It is on the websites that release such things quickly. It's
Hmm.
they got it on camera already, so the people take the camera into the theater, and
Yeah.
why? Because no one watches those videos.
Hmm. Right.
Everyone's just going, I'll just wait.
Yeah. Well, I wondered why I've seen so many posts about shaken faith. I haven't seen a single one. So let's go ahead and bury that one. That was the dumbest thing he
That's
could have
what's
said.
up. People, yeah, yeah, dude. Yet again, like I said, that's just gonna make me hype. In fact, it's gonna make me more hype than other people getting hyped up. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Uh,
yeah, hate it,
yeah. Let's do it.
hate it, hate it.
Yeah.
It makes me know that it's true.
Right. Yeah, it's the only one that they
Gets me
constantly attack. Isn't that
excited.
weird? Hmm.
Gets me excited. I'm like, yeah, Jesus, Jesus said you would do this.
Yeah. Right. Exactly, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
get like kind of excited about it for that reason.
yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's supposed to happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
excellent.
Maybe I'm gonna adopt your outlook, dude. I'm gonna start getting jazzed up when people start denying. you know?
Yeah, dude, you got it. It fuels you. It should
Mm-hmm.
fuel you. It should not deter you.
Yeah.
It should be like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is just the roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, but you know, there's a break coming up,
Yeah.
and
Amen
then
to that, dude.
eventually you even get off.
Yeah. Amen to that, dude.
Dude, I
Actually,
remember I don't know what I was thinking, just getting on the roller coaster, you know, without even getting on like a scrambler first or
oh
something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, I hadn't rode I know I'm just getting to a weird tangent all of a sudden, but it's just because of what I said there.
Uh-huh.
That I mean, I hadn't ridden an amusement park ride in years,
Yeah.
probably a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And I went straight to the roller coaster, you know,
As any man should.
and I rode it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was absolutely terrified. like
uh,
like easily some of the most scared I've ever been in my life for some
oh,
reason.
dude, I love it. I love it.
And the thing is that I knew that that would happen
Yeah.
because I've always told people, I'm like, if you haven't rid a ride in a long time, the first time you ride one,
Oh
it
yeah.
scares you.
Yeah.
And dude, this is one of those rides that like there's a drop before there's the first hill.
Mm-hmm.
The drop's maybe 20 feet,
Yeah.
which is really nothing in roller coaster standards. But
Yeah.
when you think about it, it
Right.
actually is.
Yeah.
It is though, isn't it? To just be like, you go into a bank turn, you know, and I was immediately like, oh,
the
ah!
noise the noises that come out of people's mouths, dude, is
the
just
thing
the
is,
funniest thing in the world.
is that I wish I was like that actually, because instead I just made no noise at all. Just froze. It was frozen in fear. Actually, ah, ah, just like that. Ah. And the only thing I could think of was the ride ends, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
The
Right.
ride does end sometime. I don't know when. It's seeming to go on forever. every every single turn, I was like, not another one. I was literally like that, dude. And so, and that's what the spiritual journey can be like. I said that it's like a roller coaster.
Dude, allow me.
Sometimes the key to it is that you got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared by it. So when people hate on you, hate on Jesus, be like, yeah, he said you would do that.
Yeah.
He told me what to do when you do it too.
Yeah.
Pray for you. They're like, don't pray for me. That's
You don't.
pathetic. Don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep it to yourself.
that's that. You don't have my consent to do that, so you can't do it.
I'll tell you what, brother. I've been non-consensually praying for people for months.
That's funny. Non-consensual blessing.
You're welcome. You're welcome for my sacrifice. Dude, so since you brought it up, dude, this is your fault. I
What?
told you the
What
story
did
about
I
my
do
daughter,
this
right?
time?
My daughter, the
Oh.
first roller coaster she rode with me was,
You told me, but I would love to hear it again, of course.
dude. So we go to it's called Fuji Q Highland, right? It's got one of the highest roller coasters in Japan. And my daughter's like, I want to ride that. It's like, okay, all right. So we get in line.
I want
And
to
I'm
go on the
thinking,
big one.
yeah, let's ride the biggest one they have. And I'm like, and this is the first ride, like you said, right? This was the first ride of the day. It's been years since I've
So
ridden a roller coaster.
why build up
Years,
to it? Why build
dude.
up to it? I guess.
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off. So we're in line, and I'm starting to sweat, dude. I'm like, oh, she should not be on this. So they let her through. We get in the thing. I'm looking at her and I'm just getting nervous, dude. So we're on the ascent and it keeps going forever. And I don't have the side on mine. Mine's just open air. So I'm looking over and it's got like markers like every 10 meters or something like that. So we're at like 70. And I look up and I'm like, oh no, we're still going up. We're still going up. And I
We
look off to
still
the
have
side.
more to go.
Dude, there's still more. I'm looking at my daughter. I'm freaking out. I don't know that I've prayed that sincerely in a long time. I was like, I was like, Jesus, this is one of your little ones. Please, please, please let her be okay. So we get to the top of
Well,
the
why
hill and we
wouldn't
start,
she be okay?
because
You
I
know,
don't know, dude. You know, it's the highest roller coaster in Japan.
roller
That's why.
coasters are relatively safe
Yeah, I know. I'm saying for her mental well being.
for
So
mental well-being. Okay, good.
we hit
That's
that
actually
first hill.
that's actually
Yeah,
more accurate if
yeah,
you're me.
yeah. Well, dude, we hit that first hill and I look over, right? We're about halfway down. I look at my daughter,
Okay.
emotionless. There's tears streaming from her eyes, dude. And she's just like silent, right? And so we hit that first turn and I look over, still just tears. Then we hit another turn and then finally that nightmare was over and she gets off the ride and I was like, "Well, what'd you think? How'd you like it?" She was like, "Daddy, I think I passed out like 3 times." She- so one of the times I looked over at her, she was unconscious. She passed out on like the super sharp turns, the real fast turns, and she did it like 3 times. She's like, I don't remember parts of that ride. I'm pretty sure I
Grayed
passed
out.
out.
You
I
grayed
was
out
like, oh,
3 times.
yes, dude. I was like,
That's what it's
oh,
called, by the way, in the roller coaster community is graying out.
oh, she blacked out, dude. She transcended graying out. She was gone. She's like, I don't remember any of that. I was like, dang, would you ride it again? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think I would. Do you remember
She,
the Beast all that well?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I remember riding the Beast when I was pretty young.
yeah. Oh,
Pretty
dude,
dang young. Definitely some of the youngest that you could to ride the Beast. You know, because
yeah,
I was big for my age, so I could
yeah.
do that.
Well,
So I was uniquely terrified for how young I was. And you know, like after the second, there's the second, the first hill, you do a lot of boring, fun. Let's go through, have a fun trip through the woods kind of
yeah,
thing.
right,
And then the second hill drops you into a huge double helix, which is
yeah,
terrifying.
right,
And I still remember going through that double helix as a child
dude.
to this day, and how scared I was.
I did.
It burned a memory
Oh yeah,
in my you know, it burned it
yeah,
like an iron.
right.
That was intense. That he was truly that scared that it
Oh
is
yeah,
seared into my brain.
dude. I, I
But
think it.
the the thing is that I also remember thinking that it was super awesome.
Yeah,
And the reason how I thought that it was awesome was I pretended that there was a huge beast chasing us,
yeah,
and we had to do this to get away from it. So this was necessary.
yeah.
And so you were like, okay, it's hard, but we need to get away from this guy. And that's what like my 7-year-old thought process was. Man, this beast is really fast,
Yeah.
you know? 65 miles an hour, huh? Okay.
That's pretty fast. Dude, funny again that you say that. Do you know the Magnum? I think it's at Cedar Point. It was at the time one of the highest roller coasters in the U.S. or in the world, I think. Dude, I had that moment. Like once we hit that hill, I could give you a play-by-play. So we're about halfway
You
through.
mean
Guy holds, huh?
sure it's not Millennium Force?
Oh, dude, was it? Or was that the one that came after the Magnum? I think that was like, I think the
Millennium
Millennium
Force
Force
was
is
the
the one that
really
was
tall
bigger.
blue one, really tall
Yeah,
blue one right on the water there.
yeah. So I rode that one as well. That was fun. But this one, we were kind of, I think we were early teens. I remember this guy put his glasses up, his sunglasses, he held them up in his hand, flew out of his hand. And I remember time being slow, so slow that I was like, I don't think this is going to ever end. Like everything around me was the slowest it's ever been in my life. And it was just a never ending fall, dude. So to speak to terror, that was my moment. That is the one that is forever burned in my mind. I can see the dude losing his glasses. I can
Right?
see how he reacted when he lost his glasses. Like all of it,
Why?
dude. I don't know
Why?
because it just felt that was one of the most scared times of my life because it just felt like everything was going so slow that it would never end. And then I was stuck in that place, just free falling for 300 feet or whatever it was. But
300 feet
anyways,
tall? That's a giga coaster, dude.
is it? Let me
Or is
hold on,
that
let
a
me see.
hyper? I think that's a hyper coaster, actually.
Let me see.
I think giga's 200 feet and hyper is 300.
Yeah, the Magnum XL. I'm sorry, it was at yeah, it was Cedar Point. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the height is 205 feet. Or the drop is 197, it says. Yeah. So, scariest time in my life, I think. The Millennium Force was pretty bad too. Let's see, what was the
It would be amazing to turn off my brain enough to be able to enjoy those kind of coasters, but
Oh
instead I
yeah.
think die of fear. So,
Yes, dude. 100%.
um,
Let's see, how tall was the Millennium Force? Yeah, the drop's 300 feet on the Millennium Force.
yeah, I thought it was the first hyper coaster,
Yes,
which is
you
a
are
drop
correct.
of 300 feet, right?
It is. Yeah.
That's why it's
It
such
was
a big deal when it was made.
what was briefly the tallest and the fastest in the world
Yeah, I
until
remember.
this. What's the
Remember, my
Steel
brother was
Dragon
like, "Yep,
2000?
we're gonna go on it and a lot."
Dang.
And I was just like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll watch you ride it, I guess, but I ain't getting
Well,
on that thing."
the Beast is the second longest roller coaster in the world.
It's the longest
Oh, in
wooden
North America.
roller coaster in the world.
Yeah. In North America, it's the second longest. And then Millennium Force is behind it, I guess.
Well, it's the
Oh,
longest wooden coaster in the world.
still?
Yeah, for wooden
Oh, wow.
coasters,
Dang. That's scary.
because
Wood.
no one's gonna spend that much money making a coaster that long.
Yeah, that's true.
Wooden coasters are probably the most expensive ones to build,
Yeah, that's a good point.
other than a lot of effects like boosts and stuff. Those are really
Hmm.
expensive.
Yeah.
And of course, scenery can make a ride much more expensive. So
Yeah. They have that in Minecraft, the boosts. Um, let's see here.
use a boost to get through.
Yep. Okay. Bringing it back. We're almost done.
And
Um,
out of the world, into the word.
yep. Amen and amen. Uh, the cost of following Jesus. This is what started us recording. Now, when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to go over to the other side. And a scribe came up to him and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Another of the disciples said to him, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. And Jesus said to him, Follow me and lead the dead to bury their own dead. Now, before I get into anything, allow me to read what I thought was very interesting. So this is from again, the explanation of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew by Blessed Theophylact. Some say that the foxes and the birds mean the demons. So Jesus is saying the demons may take their rest in you, and I, therefore, can have no rest in your soul. I thought that was a very interesting take because I've never heard that before.
I'd never heard that till you said it either.
Yeah. I just thought it was a very interesting take because that kind of makes sense, right? But also,
It
I think
does,
it's
yeah.
it's commonly held that just speaking to how difficult it would be. Um, but so what's interesting about 821, according to what I've read here and there, is that this man is basically what he's doing is asking uh to wait until his father actually died, because if his father was actually dead, he probably would not be there listening to Jesus preach, right? He'd be burying him. Um, And he wanted to wait, and I've read this in another place as well, the way their inheritances worked. They had to wait for the father to die, and so that he was probably waiting on his inheritance before he left and went with Jesus. So he wanted to do that before all of, or before leaving everything and following Jesus. But it kind of indicates the familial obligation to help the family for the rest of their father's remaining years, um,
Yeah, that
during that
well,
time.
that's what I heard that it always that it meant
Hmm.
from the teacher that I go to the most was that he was saying that the first year after they're dead, so like the first year anniversary,
Hmm.
they would exhume the body and
Mm.
clean it
Hmm.
so that there's nothing else on the bones, and they would make it all nice and clean it all up so it'll be permanently, like nice.
Interesting.
And that's what they were going to do, and that it's the son, it's expected for the son to do that.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
And that he was saying, well, I just got to do this for my family and then we can
Hmm.
go. And Jesus just like, come with me, I'm your family now.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of speaks to what you have to give up, right? You have to give up all of those obligations. You have to give up, your place to stay, right? Even though these things have their places to live, like that's not in the cards for me. And that's what's expected of you, you know?
Yeah.
And then I also read that leaving the dead to bury their own dead could mean like in a spiritual sense, right? The spiritually
Oh, for
dead
sure.
can
That's what
can
I
bury.
always thought it was. And it
Yeah.
could still totally mean that, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it could mean so
It-
many things and they're all awesome.
yeah. Right. Yeah. This I didn't understand the dead to bury their own dead until more recently, probably within the last 6 months or so. I never would have thought about a spiritual connection in that sense. But moving on to Jesus calming a storm. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, Save us, Lord, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you afraid, O you of little faith? And I thought it was interesting that he doesn't say, Oh, you of no faith. He's just saying, the person that was commenting on this, and I think it was actually Theophylact, um, that this could have been a test since he was with them and they were still scared. And that's why he says, Oh, you have little faith. Like I'm sleeping and I'm with you. I'm not worried about this. So why are you worried about this? But then he rose and rebuked the winds and the seas, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, What sort of man is this that even winds and sea obey him? And why that is relevant is because in ancient Near East tradition, the sea was a representation of chaotic forces that only God could control. So, Jesus having command over these things is a sign of his deity. So, that was just another nod to the deity of Jesus. And then Jesus heals the two men with demons. And when he came to the other side, to the country of the
Excuse me.
Gadarenes, you're fine, man. Two demon possessed men met him, coming out of the tombs, so fierce that no one could pass that way. And behold, they cried out, What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? The time probably meaning before the judgment, right? Now a herd of many pigs was feeding at some distance from them, and the demons begged him, saying, If you cast us out, send us away into the herd of pigs. And he said to them, Go. So they came out and went into the pigs, and behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the waters. The herdsmen fled, and going into the city, they told everything, especially what had happened to the demon possessed men. And behold, all the city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. So they were scared of their livelihood because of the pigs. And I think it was Theophylact again said that this was like the reason that they probably ran into the water, the pigs, was like a last ditch effort to scare the people.
You think?
Or to, well, this is just what he was saying, right? That it was presumed. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. What is it? 7 or 8 30? Yeah. Come on. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'll just read the whole thing. It's not that long. The demons asked this so that they could drown the swine, and thus the owners would be grieved and would not welcome Christ. Christ granted the demons their request in order to show how great is their bitterness towards men. And if they had the power and were not prevented as they are by God, they would do worse things to us than they did to the swine. For God protects those possessed by demons so that they do not kill themselves. And then he says, the inhabitants of the city begged Jesus to leave because they were grieved and thought that they would suffer something worse thereafter. You, O reader, learn that where there is swinish life, it is not Christ who dwells there, but demons. So it wasn't him that I saw that in. But whatever I was reading, the person seemed to think that it could have been a last ditch effort to really scare the people, like as Theophylact said, to kind of show them what would happen if God just let them run amok and didn't stop them. Like that's the kind of world we would live in, where they would do far worse than drown their herd of pigs.
Okay.
You know? And that's scary if you want to think about that, you know? Scary times.
And that's scary.
And that is scary. Let's see here. Is it in my NIV? That's just what I'm looking at right now, just to see if. Yeah, just raised for food. Oh, this says the pig's fate in the sea prefigures and pictures the final fate of demons. When God defeats Satan and throws him into the lake of fire, Jesus accomplished the decisive defeat of Satan in his earthly ministry and ultimately in his crucifixion and resurrection. And that's what's up. That is what is up.
And that is what is up, man.
And that is what concludes this episode.
Chapter. And episode.
Now, we might pick up the pace in the coming episodes because I kind of forget how many chapters Matthew has in it. But I kind of like doing this personally, but I don't know how keen people would be to just hear only Bible studies for X amount of hours. Because I learn,
Right.
This is what keeps me honest and what keeps me learning, to be honest with you. Because I probably wouldn't look that far into things if I didn't want to learn these things myself.
Yeah, I mean it's a Bible study for that reason, you know.
Yeah.
We're doing our little studies. I know that I may have not sounded like I delved deep into it, but I mean I feel like I've delved deep into the Gospels several times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Well,
I'm just using the knowledge that I already have for most of it, but
yeah,
it depends on what we're doing that I'll even go even further and try to. I keep hoping that we'd get more comments about people's ideas,
yeah.
but we rarely do.
This
To
is
be
true.
honest,
So
comment what you think about things.
Well, the last time I checked, someone made a comment about I also wish there was a Christian Cure band. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Because that would be kind of cool.
Someone said that?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right? I thought it was really cool. Although I don't know how to
Wow.
respond to it, so please don't think I'm ignoring the comment. I liked it
Man.
because I
I
love
love
the
that.
comment.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, right?
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess
mean,
it's up to me, dude. I
yeah.
got to make the Christian Cure band.
That's it, dude. I wish I could say I was any good at guitar and I could help you. I can't sing either, so I'm kind of out. I'll watch. I'll cheer you on, dude. You know, I'll hype up the band. But there's to that end, there's a lot of Christian metal coming out that's
Some of the
really
beauty,
good.
some of the beauty to the Cure is that Robert Smith isn't a good singer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
but
I think that'll.
he can hit notes okay though.
Mhm.
That's all that really matters.
Yeah,
Otherwise, he has a voice that they would make fun of on like, you know, like if he went to America's Got Talent, they would
yeah.
kick him off immediately. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah,
think you'll go nowhere with your voice.
yeah. That's what makes it so good, dude.
Yeah,
But anyhow,
you know,
do you
just go up
have
there and sing like Billy Corgan, you know,
yeah.
and they'd be like, what are you doing? Stop it. No one wants to hear that.
It's all good, man. Christian music seems to be making a comeback in a good way, at least in the metal scene, dude. I'm here for it. There's a lot of good bands coming out.
Yeah, I linked my friend one of my favorite songs, and she was just like, "Oh, yeah, I don't do that screaming stuff," you
Oh,
know.
okay.
And I was like, "Oh,
Whoops.
my
Whoops.
bad."
Noted. I know a lot of people who don't do that screaming stuff. They think it's of the devil when it's some of the most amazing worship music I've ever heard in my life. But that is neither
Yeah,
here nor there, you know?
that it is.
All right, man. What do you reckon? Do you have any parting words of wisdom? Not to put you on the spot,
Hmm.
because I'm not.
Just
Oh,
keep praying.
mm-hmm. Amen.
That's what I felt like. That's what I felt like the Spirit wanted me to say.
That's
Just
stuff, dude.
just keep praying. Don't falter
Mm-hmm.
in the prayer, because the Lord's saying, "Hey, Brian, you've been faltering in the prayer," because I was praying when I would drive a lot, and I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed I've stopped doing that now that I got my car back and I got Bluetooth in my car. I just listen to
Oh, yeah.
music, and
Right.
I got excited about listening to music while driving again, you know, and made me want to do that instead of just praying the whole time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you don't do like audiobooks or anything? That's what I'm guilty of. It's
That would be a
audiobooks and
good medium, wouldn't it? Oh, look who wants to join at the very end.
does he
Scribbles
have any
makes an appearance.
does he have any words of wisdom? Nothing?
Hey, bub, what you got? What you got?
Well, you heard it here first.
That's right. He's very smart. He's very, very smart. Were you very smart? Yes, you are.
All right, brother. If that is all, then let us
Wave.
conclude.
He doesn't
Say
want to
goodbye.
stand. He doesn't want to stand up. What? Wave at him. Bye. Say
Say goodbye to
bye.
everybody.
Bye.
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 Until next time.
Bye. Look at that.
Bye bye.
He's waving.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.